What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Mike Andrews. Our guy, Matt Llewellyn, will be joining us shortly. He is feeding the newborn right now, so he will be here in a few minutes. But without further ado, we know we're always fashionably late here at Nothing But Niners Red and Gold Standard Podcast, so we thank you for waiting. We got a great show planned for you this evening. We have a bit of a unique show planned. We have this concept of doing why we are optimistic about this season, and then the very opposite, why we're pessimistic about this season. Obviously, there's some news, as always. There's some drama, as always. There's some Twitter fingers being thrown out there, as always. So we're going to get into all of it. Before I toss it over to Mike, if you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure you hit like and subscribe to Nothing But Niners YouTube channel, to 49ersHive YouTube channel. If you're tuning in on X, make sure you hit like and repost the stream. And hop in the chat. We want to hear your guys' thoughts. I think X now allows chats to be shown here on StreamYard. So hop in. We want to feel them. Or excuse me, we want to hear them. We're going to get
see
all you
them,
guys.
you know, all that
or
stuff.
see them. Yeah, read them, hear them, listen. What's up, brother? So, without further ado, Mike, how you doing this evening?
I am well. Other than my sense of smell still being gone, everything else is good, man. Since Memorial Day, I've had this really, really bad sinus infection. I smoked a cigar and couldn't taste it or smell it the entire time, and that's saying something. So, yeah, it's been really strange. But other than that, I'm doing well. I'm getting better. I'm on antibiotics now. Went out and had a phenomenal night bowling. So, you know, I'm on cloud nine right now, so to speak. And the Niners are trending in I think a positive direction. I guess we'll get to it later on, but I think the Niners are trending in a positive direction, so that's even better.
Exactly. By the way, I've had this sign, this fan cave sign. Trying to get my mic. My brother Joseph got me that for my birthday, or I think Christmas. Christmas. And I had been trying to find a place to put it where it would actually show, and I thought that was the perfect location. Now I'm seeing my mic. It's showing enough. And also shout out to my dad who got me this full size Niners helmet here. So
That's a full size helmet behind you?
It's a full size. My head's too big, but definitely a normal size adult head could fit in there. I've tried multiple times, trust me. I feel like
That's
if I
awesome.
get that on there, you're going to have to saw it off. So,
Is a fan cave like a man cave just for multiple people?
yeah, I guess so. I guess it's a PC way of saying man cave these days without anybody being offended.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
inclusive man cave.
There's like she sheds, or, you know, in the man cave, she shed, and then fan cave. Okay, I got it.
Exactly. Yep. Anyway, I apologize for your sense of smell, Mike. I haven't had my sense of smell in about 3 years. Not very strongly, at least, since the first time I got COVID myself. But let's get right into this.
Does it affect the way things taste to you?
Yes. Unfortunately, not like
So what is it-
strongly, but it is noticeable.
So you can't hear, you're deaf. You can't see, you're blind. You can't feel, you're numb. Though I'm going through the five senses.
I was
but
going to say, are you saying the
scent?
collective we?
No.
you?
Well, I'm saying you. Well, not you in general, but like I'm not you specifically in general. So what's it called when you can't smell? What is the loss of scent smell? All right. Anybody in the chat know what that is? You guys put that in the comments if
Smell
you find out what
blind.
that is for us. You're odor blind.
You ever see Dewey Cox Walk Hard
No.
with John C. Reilly?
First of all, that title is just crazy. No,
Well,
I've never seen that.
It's a parody movie of the Walk the Line movie with Johnny Cash, but it's John
Okay.
C. Reilly, the guy from Step Brothers, Dale.
Oh, the big dude. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he goes smell blind in Walk Hard, and it's like a major part of the story, and they just keep saying throughout the movie, "Are you fucking stupid? He lost his sense of smell. He's
I
gone
don't know
smell
what that
blind."
is. Okay.
Yeah, it's a hilarious
But
movie.
there has to be a real term for it, right? You can't feel, you're numb.
Let us know, chat.
I don't know what it is, the ability of the taste and scent. I don't know what those two are. So we'll see if anybody in the chat figures it out. That is always something fun and interesting about us. We're going to get off topic in a fun and educational way. So
Okay, I found it on Google if you want to know, or do you want to give the chat an opportunity to get us?
Well, they haven't said anything, so let's go ahead. Let's spoil it for them.
It's called anosmia, the inability to smell.
Anosmia. With an A or an E?
An A.
Anosmia.
And the inability to taste is agesia. It's like Agusia. Aguisia. I'm sure Matt knows.
Wow.
This.
Yeah, he probably knows all this stuff. Well, I should have definitely waited to ask these kind of questions until Matt was here. We'll just randomly quiz him when he pops in to see if he knows.
Exactly.
Do you think he knows, like, without looking it up?
Probably. I don't know. He knows that obscure shit, especially anything medical.
Yeah. Right. All right. That'll be interesting. We'll see what he knows. All right. I'm gonna shut up. Let's go ahead and get to the show, man. It's gonna be fun.
Anyway, I know we wanted to save the Brandon Ayuk topic for Matt when he gets here because I know we had a bit of a interesting discussion, a brief discussion we wanted to save for the show. So why don't we start off with why we are optimistic? Was there any breaking news that I'm missing? First of all, I don't think so, right?
I put something in there. The Niners made some changes to the front office and they promoted some guys from within. Not necessarily breaking news. And I don't know that we've done a show since we made that trade official. So
we have not. We could be like every other content creator, just label everything as breaking news. Breaking.
No, that's all like cheap clicks and all that stuff. It's just for they know that the thumbnail gets it. That's what it is. And
the algorithm.
These content creators, don't get me started. I've had drinks. Don't get me started, please, because I'm going to start going off on people that I like, supposedly, in public.
All right. So today, this afternoon, per Jonathan Jones of NFL at CBS, the 49ers have promoted 3 people in their personnel department per the team website. Tariq Ahmad and RJ Gillen have both been promoted to VP of player personnel. And Matt, hang with me here, Plensky has been promoted to VP of football R&D. I know Tariq has been kind of I don't want to say household name, but
he was a scout.
He was a scout, and he's worked his way up, and he's one of the main draft heads, personnel department heads that I've heard a lot of in the last couple of years. And he was also one of the guys that was kind of discussed to be like an Adam Peters type replacement, which if you guys remember, I think Adam Peters, his last title before he got poached for GM was vice president, right? Wasn't it VP of player personnel? So now
that's correct. Yeah.
Shares that title with RJ Gillen. So congratulations to them. Yeah. Appreciate anybody working hard. Definitely. Does this tell you anything?
There's one surprise for me, and it's not about the names on there. I didn't know you can have more than one vice president of anything. So seeing 2 VPs announced for a position. So what happens if the real VP? Oh wow, I was going to get really morbid. What happens if the actual player, the player personnel person has to step down? Who gets the position and who remains VP?
Well, if it's anything like the corporate world, I can tell you from my experience working at like a Fortune 500 company, it's basically all just titles. The way it was explained to me was we give you these titles because we're then allowed to pay you more. So there's like 1,000 VPs of my company, and there's 1,000, I don't know, regional I guess that makes managers there can be a ton of, but VPs specifically, there can be a ton of. So I guess with the 49ers, 2 is okay or normal. Would there be multiple, like 5, 10? I don't know. But it is kind of a strange title to have to share with somebody, not even like co-VP, but just we're both VPs. So we need to change a succession plan for the 49ers to know what happens in the case of emergency.
I like it, though. No, Tariq Ahmad has been working his way up through the ranks for a while now, and I'm not to slight R.J. Gillen either because I'm just unaware. And then Matt Plawinski, I also am not familiar with his work, but I know Tariq Ahmad has been someone that I've heard his name a lot of, thanks to the people like Steph Sanchez and Wayne Breezy, and those people who go to the scouting combine and things like that. They've talked about their interactions with Tariq Ahmad, so I am familiar with his name. The other 2 gentlemen, not so much, but congrats to both of them on their promotions. I am sure it is well deserved. And just keep grinding, man. You guys are going to work your way up through the rankings, and you guys will be GMs in the next 10 years. So that's the goal. So I'm very happy to see that.
Tariq is the bald fella, if my memory serves correct, right? Do you know?
I've seen him with a hat on before, but I don't know what is under the cap. So I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Light skin. I'm pretty sure he's a light-skinned bald fella, but could be wrong. Anyway, so congratulations to these three gentlemen who have been promoted. The 49ers are moving up their draft team, their player personnel team, which is wonderful to see, especially, like I said, with Adam Peters moving on and taking a bunch of people. Every time a 49ers coach or personnel department gets poached, you got to know that there's going to be like 5 to 10 staff that goes with them. So whether it's Rand Carthon in Tennessee, although that didn't work out for him, or Mike McDaniel in Miami, Saleh even in New York. He took the offensive coordinator with him. I'm forgetting his name now, LaFleur, I think. And then D'Amico in Houston, Peters in Washington. So this is normal for the 49ers to work and start promoting their own guys when all this top talent continues to get poached year after year after year. Also, you're right, Mike. We have not done a show since the trade of Bryce Huff was announced. So this was, I know for myself, this was a bit of a shocker. Honestly, I was not expecting the 49ers to make any more moves. They've kind of been a boring team the last couple of years, I guess you could say. And then out of nowhere, I'm trying to pull up the graphic from Schefter. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up. This hits the group chat on, was it Thursday? Friday. ESPN sources, 49ers and Eagles are working to finalize a trade that will send edge rusher Bryce Huff to San Francisco for a mid-round pick. Trade cannot be processed until after June 1st, but both sides are working to make it happen. And Huff has already reworked his contract to help facilitate the trade. In San Francisco, Huff will be reunited with his 49ers DC Robert Saleh, his former head coach with the Jets. Mike, what's your take on this?
I'm a little all over this. Going to go into my optimism versus pessimism thing with the feel of the season, right? I love to see that the Niners are trying to make moves, and more importantly, bringing in guys that apparently Robert Saleh is comfortable with on the defensive side of the ball. I absolutely love that. We saw that same thing happening with, I almost said Brad Seeley. Wow.
The special teams coach?
Yeah. Oh, God. Why am I blanking so hard right now? Oh, man. Wow. What a brain fart. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But they did that with a couple of different players for the special teams unit as well. And so I'm happy to see that they're going out and they're giving the new DCs guys that they have some confidence in, that they believe can execute their scheme the right way. So you get a guy like that in, he's also going to become a teacher in the system for the younger people, the people who are developing. And they're also going to provide something for us. Yes. Oh, God, yeah. Brant Boyer. Wow. They're also going to provide some insight on him for the rest of the younger and up-and-coming guys. So I do like it from that sense. What we expect from him versus what we hope from him, though, I think are going to be two very, very different things. So
interesting. I love this trade. I absolutely love this trade. This is a classic buy low move from the 49ers. It reminds me of when they got, I'm forgetting his name, from Houston a couple years back, who turned out to be a stud for us. He went out to the Chiefs. Menahue. Reminds me when they got Menahue. However, this Bryce Huff is like a proven talent. He had, 10 sacks, 11 sacks 2 years ago with Saleh, and then went to the Eagles on this massive contract. He got 4 years, $80 million or something crazy like that. And
yeah, it was a good deal.
Did not produce, right? But the Jets and the Eagles run an entirely different system. So yes. I don't really think that was situated for Bryce Huff to excel in. And I think on top of all of that, all the other factors, maybe it got personal, maybe he didn't want it, maybe there was a motivation. It didn't work out. It just simply didn't work out. The Eagles are paying $9 million of his cap hit this year just to get him off of their team.
Yeah.
I'm a little shocked the Eagles sent him to us, of all people. Maybe there were not any other teams that were biting on the trade bait. but the 49ers because of the connection to Robert Saleh. Did that surprise you at all that the Eagles would be willing to send him here?
No, it's kind of one of those things where if you're not worried about that team, send whoever they want over there and get what you can for them, right? And I know that it's like, oh, the Eagles are paying, the majority of his salary this year, but it's less than what they would have been paying had he not reworked it. It's and they get a draft pick for it, so it's a fifth rounder right now with the ability to become with the escalators in there, and it can go all the way up to a fourth. So I mean, it's a win-win for both teams, no matter how you try to spin it. There's nobody getting over on anyone. The Niners think they're getting a diamond in the rough type of guy, and the Eagles think that, hey, we're getting rid of a guy that we just couldn't quite get to work out for us. So it's a win-win. It's a very good trade. We just got to see what he's going to bring to the table.
Right. So then it comes out, was it today? So the trade was finalized on Monday, and I think it was a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick if Bryce Huff meets certain markers statistically this year. Eagles will receive a conditional 5th-round pick that can become a 4th. So I like the pick. The rate that the 49ers just pick up these mid-round compensation picks, whether it's from a coach that got hired, players that leave, it's basically for free. I mean, to be honest with you, they're going to pay him money, yeah, but draft-wise, it's basically like signing a free agent. So I'm really happy with this trade. And also a factor that we haven't touched on is this now lessens the pressure off of Mykel Williams. He's not being thought of to come in and produce and give us 10 sacks year one immediately. This allows him to come in at his own pace. Dare I say, maybe I'm a little too optimistic. Maybe I have my 49ers colored glasses on. Dare I say this is reminiscent of when the 49ers acquired Dee Ford? Maybe to a little bit of a lesser extent.
No, that's a very good comp, right? Because he did Dee Ford-esque things his 1 year with, well, not his 1 year, but that year that
his
he had good
year.
production with Robert Saleh, yeah. But if you step back and look at the rest of it, I mean, this also kind of feels like it could possibly be Javon Hargrave from the Eagles situation again, right? So you see the double-digit production, and then it's like, yeah, he didn't work out here. Now, Hargrave was due to injury, but this guy is coming in healthy from all accounts. He did pass the physical, and the trade did go through, like you said, 2 days ago. I just look at the rest of the production or lack of, and I'm like, yeah, this guy was undrafted for a reason. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I just want us to temper expectations. I know people are looking at, oh, he got double-digit sacks with Robert Saleh. That wasn't his first year with Robert Saleh, guys, and he was also undrafted. So all of those things should be looked at when we're trying to evaluate or maybe project what his production and productivity will be this year.
Oh, I'm going to push back on the Hargrave. I get it, but it's like the opposite in my opinion, because this is a guy who had success elsewhere, then went to Philly and had no success. Whereas with Hargrave, he was kind of, on the up and up, coming from Pittsburgh, had career years in Philly, and then the 49ers dropped a boatload of money on him. So I'm happy to get Huff. I'm going to bring Matt in here and get his thoughts on this. Let me change the layout here. Bear with me.
What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Oh, kids, man. Lots of kid stuff. So,
nice.
Other than that, doing good. How are you guys?
Good. Ready to talk about some Niners.
We're doing well, man. But we got to get your thoughts on Huff before we move on, because I want to know what your expectations are for him versus what you hope. Like, we all hope that he gets double-digit sacks, right? He comes in and he's a monster on third down.
Sure.
He gives Nick Bosa some relief and help and all that stuff, right? But, like, what are your realistic expectations for this guy? He's got one season with double-digit sacks, and everything else is like 2.5 or less or something like that, right? So what are your realistic expectations for him?
I think they're going to use him on passing downs until Mykel Williams can really start to develop a pass rush, which is like the one area where he's pretty rudimentary at this point. I would expect on running downs that Mykel Williams gets the bulk, and I don't think that. I mean, occasionally you'll see somebody give Nick Bosa a break, but I think that Huff and Mykel Williams are going to be the flopping back and forth between each other. Obvious passing downs for Huff. But Listen, Philadelphia is paying a bunch of the money, and it cost the 49ers a 5th-round pick with it could be a 4th depending on how Huff performs. So if we give up the 4th, that means that he played well. That's great for us. If we don't and we just give up a 5th, I mean, the 49ers are comp pick merchants anyway. He's essentially free as far as I look at it. So if you can maximize what you get out of him, fantastic. If not, no worries. Like, to me, this is a low risk, potentially high reward move, and it's something that could help the 49ers potentially. Because to me, what they gave up, given that I think they're already in line for 2 or 3 more comp picks on top of it. So yeah, it's fine.
He should not count against the comp pick thing anyway. So
no, it's a trade, not a free agent. It's
right.
a trade, not a free agent. Yeah.
I saw the comment. I believe it was Callie that just said it. Mike, it's a different system that Fangio is running. It's not as different as everyone thinks. It's really not as different as everyone thinks. If you go back and watch the Super Bowl, Vic Fangio was running 4-3 defenses out there to contain Patrick Mahomes and all that, and they were doing some wide 9 as well. Like, Vic Fangio adapts. I know that when we think of Vic Fangio, we think of the 3-4 defense that he ran while he was here with the 49ers. He adapted to the personnel on that Eagles team. And so they were a team that ran a 4-3. He just had, a very good blend of things happening over there. And this gentleman still couldn't produce the way that he did that 1 year under Robert Saleh. So I'm not saying that he's going to come in here and fall flat on his face at all. I don't want anyone to think that that's what I'm saying. But if this is your mindset, oh, well, it's completely different. It wasn't as different as what you guys think it was. That's all.
Also, I'm just excited for this because like Matt said, and like I said earlier, it's, if you look at the 49ers, I was trying to pull up a list right now. Look at their 5th-round picks in the last 4 years. Would you rather have a shot at who Bryce Huff has shown he could be, or these players that they end up getting who end up not making the roster more often than not? I would rather take Huff because the success is there. He's paired with Saleh. He's motivated to work. He's in a system he's familiar with that he's had success in. I'm happy with it. There's a clip from OTAs or practice, whatever's going on, from him already with the 49ers, I think.
I hated this clip.
What's that?
I hated this clip so much.
Well, here it is. This is for Anthony Flores TV.
There you go, just a little bit lower. 1, 2, smash! There you go, good. Right, there you go! There you go, good! Beside, there you go! Right, there you go, good.
So, why'd you hate it, Mike?
All right, so the clip that I saw originally that I hated, I didn't know you were going to play that one. But the first 2 moves there was like running and stepping over something. That's not ever going to be beneficial. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your job is. You're not just bowling over offensive linemen, specifically tackles like that. You're not stepping over them. So I hate that drill. I don't know how that drill is beneficial. Now, the rest of the clip that you showed, so the clip that I saw first was just the one that showed the first 2 that you showed, like snap the ball and run over the big inflatable, right? And I was like, Koseric's going to waste this guy's talent. He's going to ruin this guy because that's not going to happen in the NFL. That's not going to happen anywhere he goes. He's not running up, putting 2 hands on someone. They're going to lay down and you step over him on the way to the quarterback. That's not going to happen. What I did like about the clip that you showed was the last 4 parts or the 4 exercises was hand swipes and getting the arms out of the way. That I did have an appreciation for because that's going to be more beneficial when you're lining up against tackles in the NFL. So I don't want to just see this quick get-off thing. They have this metric that they pride themselves on, the GTOF or GTFO, whatever they call it, right? It's like that's not enough, and we've seen that a lot. Like, you sit here and talk about all these guys that have this great GTFO rate. Like, that's what they hung their hat on the last 2 seasons, and our defensive line did absolutely nothing against the pass these last couple of seasons. So I don't care about that metric that they created in-house anymore. I want to see you be able to use hands. I want to see you be able to use your hips and get around guys and good footwork. The first 2 that he did in that clip were terrible. So to rephrase what I said, I hated the clip that I originally saw. The clip that you just showed, the last half of it was significantly better than what I saw the first time.
Interesting. Okay. Well, he looks like he's in good shape. That's
I
all
hated
took
that
from-
clip too.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing any useful tactics that we're going to be seeing on the field, but
For a different reason, though.
oh, please.
Yeah.
You have to elaborate. Don't just leave us hanging.
Listen, there is no seat more nuclear white hot than the dude that was screaming in that video. And if this defensive line does not produce, I will be screaming louder than him for him to be fucking fired. I hate that clip because all he's doing is yelling. It's not even like he's barely coaching. It's just like he's just yelling smash. I'm just like, am I watching a Marvel movie? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like that. I don't know. That kind of coaching wears thin, I feel like. And I don't know. You can only hear. I mean, he's new there, so it might work for him. But like every video I see of him yelling, I'm just like, all right.
And do you remember when he first?
This guy has gotten more groceries to make a 5-star meal out of than anybody in the world. And if this dude screws it up, he needs to get fired. Like 100%. Like no questions asked. If they're not I don't care if they make the playoffs. I don't care if they make a deep run. I don't care if they win a Super Bowl. If this team is not like top 5 in sacks and pressure and all that shit, like you got to go, dude. Like you've had plenty of opportunity. Plenty. If they're not getting it done, get the fuck out.
Matt is talking to my soul. I think Chris Kocurek is vastly overrated. I absolutely love what you're saying. And I've been saying this for the last 2 seasons now, maybe even 3. I am so with you. Like everyone was like, oh, he's so intense in the screaming, and like you hear him above every other coordinator and coach and blah, 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 blah. And like, so what that we hear him? Where's the production? Where's the development of these defensive linemen? It does not exist. If they don't come in as finished products, we get nothing more from them than what we got from the first season here. And it's terrible. It is terrible. So, Matt, I'm with you, man. I'm 100% with you on that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just happy to see the guy here. He looks like he's in good shape. He looked like he had a good get off, but definitely hear your guys' reasoning. We got 2 super chats from Sean. Sean, life is great. So my 1200 LG washer, brand new. Mike, I started moving in, doing touch-ups. I did my first load last night. It had a squeaky noise. I went away 20 minutes. It ripped all the pipes. Oh, jeez. I've heard some nightmares about these LG washers, man.
I won't do it, man. We looked at LG and we talked to some experts, and they all pointed us in the direction of Whirlpool, believe it or not. They were like, if you want your best bang for your buck, don't go out there and get these smart washers and dryers that you can set a timer for from your phone. They were like, none of that is important. You want something that's going to hold up for you. And now this is the store that I was in. I wasn't in one of those high-end stores. But they were telling me straight up, like, the Whirlpool is the best bang for your buck. So that's what we ended up going with.
He says, ripped the pipes out of the wall, slammed into the dryer, jackhammered on into my new floors to the concrete, dented the dryer. The room was brand new, first run. Costco said they will pay for it. Defective. What the hell?
Wow.
At least you got Costco to say that. Hopefully you got that in writing, brother, because
my man
Christ.
bought a fucking transformer. Like
Yeah.
he was changing into an Autobot in the middle of your load, bro. It just started tearing shit up, man. Wow, that is insane. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sean.
Right,
but
right.
It is good how you said at the very end here, Costco will pay for it. So, knock on wood, and like Zach said, make sure you get that in writing, or make sure they hold up to their end of the deal. Are they going to pay for the washer and dryer? Or are they going to pay for the damages that it caused? Because now your dryer's damaged, you got a bad washer, and you have damage to your property. By the way, I would still call my insurance company on that. That sounds like an insurance claim as well. So get the money. You're paying for the insurance. I know so many people are afraid to call insurance companies because they think their rates and all that shit are going to increase. You're paying for that insurance for a reason. So that's something that I would definitely run by the insurance company as well.
Our storage unit got broken into where we live about 2.5, 3 years ago. Called the renter's insurance, asked for a list of everything that was stolen. Like a month later, cut us a check. It was it was pretty nice. We had to have a police come out here and whatnot.
Did Did you tell them that your TV and your refrigerator and your jewelry for your wife and the
I told
engagement ring
them
were all in there?
everything that was in there that was stolen. I was just very thorough, Mike. I was just very thorough.
That's how you do it, my man.
Thankfully,
very good.
it was right after COVID, so everything was bought online because we needed receipts to prove that.
Yes.
But it's like, oh, I got all that. It's all on my Amazon account because it was just ordered through COVID. I couldn't go in if I wanted to. So
nice.
definitely
Not nice that it was broken into, but
no,
it's good that
at least
you
they
got it back,
made it whole. I still think it was a setup from these apartment people here because they gave us the one storage unit that didn't have that metal plate over the door crack.
Yeah, so you
I
could just
don't
jimmy it
know.
open.
Yeah,
you could just,
that's
you
how
could
they
just
got
jimmy
in
it
there with a
open.
crowbar, and I made a point to say, hey, are there any that have this plate? No, there's not. I'm like, sure. Anyway,
That's tough. We have a storage unit like that on the back of my house. So like if you were ever in my backyard, there's just a random door on the outside, and it's an external storage unit. It's like a closet basically, but from the outside. And we can lock the door, but it's got glass panes. And so even if you have the door locked, you can smash it and then reach inside and unlock
right.
it. It's like the little square, you smash it out. And so it's not the most secure thing. The good thing is that we do live in a really, really nice neighborhood, and we don't have those issues out here. Knock on wood. But so it's not about where you live; it's about opportunity. That's all. People look for the opportunity, and they do what they need to do.
Sean with another super chat. I was pretty happy though. God is good. Didn't like those floors anyway. It made my day. I was saying God's name. Hey, at least Michael said, God said, Sean, you shall have new flooring, my son. There you go. 2 birds, 1 stone. 2 floors, 1 dryer, 1 washer. Tony says, I lost $3,000 in golf clubs at my last apartment complex, and they weren't covered. It's tragic. Damn. Did you have renter's insurance? Because it's my understanding that even like stuff in your car is covered if you have renter's insurance, if it's broken into at your residence. Thankfully, they make us get renter's insurance here. I never would have just gotten it on my own, but it's like part of living here. But damn, that's tough, man. $3,000 in golf clubs. Yikes. Okay. So we were waiting for Matt to get into why we are optimistic. No, you're good. We started going through crazy stories, stuff getting stolen, insurance, whatnot. Why we are optimistic about the 49ers this season. I know we went through a little bit when we went to this comment from Michael. When we went through the schedule drop, but let's just do 20, 30 minutes or so of why we are optimistic, or however long it takes, and then we'll do on the flip side why we're pessimistic. Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd numbered year, man, and that seems to be good years for the 49ers traditionally for the last however long. And when you look at last year and the expectations that the team had, I don't think it could have gone much worse than last year. So there's nowhere to go but up, and so odd numbered year. Hopefully that brings that good, vibe, that good juju. And it seems so far with the lack of contract drama and all that stuff that seems the vibe in the building is a little bit better. So that's where I'm going to start.
Okay. I'll go and then I'll let Mike go. I think obviously the schedule is easy, right? But a lot of the younger guys, I should say the year 2 guys who were rookie, I forget who was talking about it, but they were like, yo, like first year here, we go to a Super Bowl, and now second year, it's not so hot. They don't even make the playoffs. So I think that really teaches the younger guys, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows and lollipops. Like, this shit's hard, and you can't take these long postseason runs for granted. And now they have that experience to teach the rookies. And if the 49ers, they already had a great rookie class last year, if they're able to add to that with another solid rookie class from this year, they're going to be looking much better, much younger, faster. I'm excited for that. And I think that they took this whole last season and this offseason to really take their medicine, like really, really understand where they were hurting, where they were going wrong, where they needed to get younger, cheaper, And they did exactly that. And even if it hurts, like I saw a video the other day of Deebo Samuel, like in just his time here in San Francisco. And I know with a lot of fans, his time was kind of worn out by the time he left. But just really kind of made me a little sad for, how things played out here. It's unfortunate he couldn't finish with a ring here because he was electric. I mean, that 2021 season that we had with him, like that's an unreal season that will probably go down in the history books. And he kind of redefined that entire wide back role that he had. But the 49ers were aware that this kind of has come to an end and it's time for us to part ways. They part ways with him, like they were willing to part ways with Juice until Juice came back on a cheaper contract. So I think they were really willing to take their licks, take their medicine, regardless of how nasty it tasted, and do what needed to be done. So that's why I'm optimistic about how this is going to play out. Mike?
I love that you guys are kind of taking like some negatives and spinning it into a positive. So I'm going to continue in that same trend, right? I love that we have a week 14 bye week, right? So the reason I say that is because last year I wanted to pull my locks out when I kept hearing people say, we know what we have to do after the bye week. We've done it before. We can do it again. And that seemed to be like this, it was this whole like sense of belonging or entitlement that the entire team, coaches, coordinators, players, captains were all saying the same thing. Like, we've been here before. It's not uncharted territory. We know what we have to do to right the ship, and we're capable of doing it. We've done it before. Week 14, it's over. I don't care what if you guys have 3, 4, 5 wins by week 14, the season's done. It is over. So I am very grateful for this very late bye week. I know a lot of people were upset about it. We normally get bye weeks in the middle of the season, right? I'm glad that it's over. Kyle, team, you guys have to come out on your shit from the very beginning. No time to play around. So that is going to be my first point of being optimistic about this season.
And that's a great point, Mike, because it really is like, we've been here before. We're fine. We're 3-5, but we've been here before. And look, we made the Super Bowl that year. It's like, shut the hell up. Nobody cares what you've done before. Is this that team? No, it's a completely different team. New guys, new circumstances. Another reason why I'm optimistic, I think these NFC teams, maybe save the Eagles, are due for a regression. And I think, unfortunately, for like the Lions, they couldn't have had a more wide open shot of getting out of the NFC than last year. And they took a step back from the prior year. They didn't even make it to where they made it 2 years ago. So it's unfortunate for them. But I really do think there's a lot of talent there. But you can't ask a team to win 13, 14, 15 games that many times in a row and not really get anything out of it. So I think they're due for a regression. I think Washington's going to come back down to earth. I still think Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback. But to ask them to repeat what they did last year, I think is a bit much. Like what happened to C.J. Stroud and the Texans after his rookie year. And I think that the teams that maybe are on the up and up, kind of Chicago, dare I say Carolina, like these younger teams with a higher pick quarterback, they're inexperienced. So the 49ers have the NFC. It's kind of ripe for the taking. And that gives me much reason for to be optimistic. Matt, did you have anything?
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to touch on what the sentiment is with the we've been there before. Well, guess what? Complacency is out the window. D-line completely revamped. You got new blood in the linebacking unit. You got new blood in the secondary. You got new blood in the wide receiving core. There is no we've been here before. Bullshit. You got fresh blood in there. You haven't been there before. And some of the biggest complacent people are now applying their fat bow trade in Washington and other places. So now the team doesn't take anything for granted. Like, oh, yeah, easy piece of cake. We've done this. No problem. No problem. No problem. No, they got smacked in their mouth last time. High roster turnover. You had guys that were important to the team walk out the door. Now who's going to fill the gap? You come in focused. You come in ready to play. You come in with an edge each and every week, and you get hungry again. There was too much of this, and I said it last year, and I think you guys remember me saying this last year. It's like this. I think at one point they were like 4-5 or whatever it was. And I was like, this is the most entitled under 500 team I've ever seen. It's just like they take for granted they can just flip a switch and all of a sudden, the 2023 49ers are back. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby. Like, no, that's not how this works. This is the NFL. And if you're not careful, you're going to get blown by and not even know where you stand anymore. So I think it's a good thing to get so much fresh blood in there. And by the way, that fresh blood helps reinvigorate some of the veterans because they're not scarred by the 2 Super Bowl losses. You know what I mean? I think, honestly, I think George Kittle maybe and Fred Warner the only 2. Oh, Nick Bosa as well. So there's a couple of like leaders who have been through the 2 Super Bowl losses, but by and large, most of those 2 teams, like they're gone. They're not here. You might have guys from the 23 roster, but it's been churned over. So there's a lot of fresh blood in there to not be around for that.
Mike, did you have another? I know you said you were going to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My other one is going to be the coordinator flip, right? So I want to take time and applaud the Eagles. I know you mentioned the Eagles earlier, right, in this segment. The Eagles did something that I thought was phenomenal heading into last season, and it paid the ultimate dividend, right? They went out and got established coordinators. Kellen Mond, a really, really good offensive coordinator, right? Vic Fangio, a top 5 defensive coordinator. And they let those guys go into that Eagles building and do their thing, right? If you look at all the teams that were threats to the 49ers in the last 2 seasons, they lost offensive coordinators. They lost defensive coordinators. And while the Niners had the opportunity and took advantage of, they flipped the other way. Right now, while we didn't make a major change at the offensive play caller in Kyle Shanahan, but we did make a new change at the offensive coordinator. I won't get into that, but I want to focus on the special teams coordinator and the defensive coordinator, right? We now have a Super Bowl defensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator that has played and got his team to a Super Bowl and deep playoff push, right? We now have a Brant Boyer who has been a top 10 special teams coordinator and has expectations, not some guy that was just, here because right place, right time type of thing, right? Someone who's actually earned it and gone out there and done it, and someone who gives a shit about the players on his unit, not just, well, you give me whoever's here and I'll make the best of it. No, those days are over for the 49ers. They took their weakest positions and needs at the coordinator spots and all of a sudden made it a strength, right? We had the worst or one of the worst special teams units for the last 2 or 3 years. And now we go out and get a guy that is top 15 at worst, right? Top 10 sometimes and even higher. So that is awesome. And then we go out and get back a guy like Robert Saleh, who isn't just here because he was demoted, right? The enthusiasm that you hear and see Robert Saleh speaking with and about, it's palatable. Like, people are talking about, I'm happy that Robert Saleh is here because he's genuinely happy here. You know what I'm saying? And so that paints a completely different mindset heading into this season. It's going to pay massive dividends, right? When you have Vic Fangio walk into the building, when you have Kellen Mond walking to the building, if you're on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, I've seen what that guy can do. I know what Mond can do, right? If you're on the defensive side of the ball, I know very well what Vic Fangio can do. He's done it in multiple places. He's been that guy as a defensive coordinator, maybe not as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, that guy can do it. What do you think these defensive guys are saying about Robert Saleh? Right? What do you think Huff is saying about Robert Saleh as the newly acquired 49er? He is the guy with the least amount of time on the 49ers roster. And imagine the energy that he's walking into the building with. It's like, oh, yeah, baby, I'm back because I trust that guy right there to put me in the position to win. Nick Bosa's already going to feel that way, but so what? You've been here before. What about the new guy? And if that new guy can inspire these young guys, right, the first 5 defensive picks, right, with something, you guys were drafted rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was an undrafted guy. Look what he did with me. Imagine what he's going to get out of you guys, right? All of a sudden, it's like, guys, we got no reason to fail. Then you got Nick Bosa next to you. Then you got Fred Warner next to you, right? Then you got Diamador Lenore out there with you. It's like, holy shit, like, guys, we got some dogs over here. I just got to do my part. And they believe in me enough that they drafted me relatively high. So this is going to be good for the guys like C.J. West and Michael Williams and Upton. And this is going to pay dividends for the 49ers this season. That's a huge reason to be optimistic. And I know I'm going to come back to this because I started with Kyle Shanahan as the offensive play caller. Kyle's not worried about what the special teams unit is doing anymore. He's no longer saying, hey, I got to take a break from this offensive game plan and the scheme. Let me go check on the defense anymore. I got to see what a guy like Wilkes is doing. I got to see what Sorensen is doing. That's gone. Kyle, you get to lock in and really make this offense what you want. This is Kyle Shanahan's first time with a quarterback in his 4th year. His first time ever in the NFL. It's going to pay some dividends, and I'm really, really excited about that. That's a reason to be optimistic.
For sure. And you mentioned Brant Boyer, the new special teams coach. They got a whole new special teams unit. I mean, they signed Thomas Morstead as a punter. They got a new long snapper. Both members, the choker and the chokey from last year in Tampa, are off this team. Tabor Pepper's gone. Debo's gone. And they also signed the kicker, who I'm forgetting the name of. Was it Matt Gay? No, not Matthew Wright. Greg Joseph, who has been with New York before. So he's got experience with Boyer, just like Thomas Morstead had experience with Boyer. I think the long snapper they got from Randy from Houston, but he's a veteran long snapper. Like, these are established special teams members. So that's a great point, Mike. Somebody in the chat mentioned Sam Darnold. Getting to play Sam Darnold twice a year. And I know people are immediately going to say, he lit up this Niners defense last year. Let me know when he has Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and that Vikings offensive line. I know they got beat up later in the season, but this was like week 2 or 3 that he played the 49ers, right? I think Sam Darnold is going to look completely different with Seattle. A Seattle team minus DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. JSN is now receiver 1. I know they added Cooper Kupp. Will he stay healthy? Who knows? But I think Sam Darnold is going to look different. But my point overall, just like I mentioned in my first point, that the NFC is kind of wide open, the NFC West is just as wide open. And the 49ers have a very easy schedule to get to 10, 11, 12 wins. And the rest of the teams, and the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks are going to have to compete with that just to win your division. So I think the 49ers are sitting pretty here. Go ahead, Mike.
And just to touch on a little bit more of your Sam Darnold point, there's no Brian Flores over there running that team. That defense, I should say, right? Like, yeah, Hamilton was cool as a secondary guy in Baltimore, but that Seattle defense ain't what that Ravens defense was. So, all right, cool. You can work some magic with a safety. That's awesome. But that whole defense as a whole, that's middle of the pack at best. So it's not Brian Flores. That's not the same thing. We are not going to be playing the same Sam Darnold that you guys saw. Sam Darnold could go out there and know, hey, I could throw 2 picks in the game and we're still going to have a shot. He doesn't know that anymore. That Seattle defense is not wired the same way. So I'm liking our odds here.
Yeah. This is going to be a little bit of a sidetrack, and then I'll go to Matt. Dare I say he doesn't start and finish the season as the starter? Minnesota was the perfect situation because he didn't have anybody looking over his shoulder. It's not the case in Seattle anymore. I think they still have Drew Lock, right? They brought him back, and they just drafted Jalen Milroe. So I think maybe mid-season things aren't looking so hot. He could get benched. That was not an option. In Minnesota, they had fucking Daniel Jones mid-season, and then McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy was injured, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was not happening. So that's my recent point, I guess. My new point is the division being up for the grabs. The Rams won with like 10 games. 10-7, I think, was a record this past season. I don't necessarily think they got better. They did add Devontae Adams. Matt?
Yeah, no, I think the third thing is kind of what you sort of brought up, is that this is no longer just a two-phase team anymore. They've taken care of some of the issues in special teams. Now, we still have a kicking competition to get through in the offseason, but something tells me that, we'll be all right there. The fact that Boyer went with Thomas Morstead and the team kind of parted ways with Mitch Wishnowsky kind of says that anything's up for grabs. And if you look at Morstead's numbers, they were better than Wishnowsky's. So I think it's all going to be a results-based, business for the special teams. Got to get a returner. Got to find out who the kick guy is going to be. But by putting so much effort into finding that, I feel like this team is now a team that takes care in all three phases of the game, and they were lacking that for really the last few years. And you guys touched on it. Kyle Shanahan, the play caller, no longer has to go like, all right, what's special teams doing? You know what I mean? So maybe we get a house call this year on a return. Maybe the 49ers get better starting field position. Again, when you take care of that third phase, you put your offense and your defense, the phases that Kyle cared about before this year, into better positions to succeed. So the 49ers did a really good job of addressing special teams, which was one of the worst units I've ever seen in my life. So sky could be the limit here. And, having all three of those phases, that has to make you feel good on top of everything else that we talked about, on top of the easy schedule, all that stuff.
That's exactly where I was going to wrap it up. As far as me, the schedule, right? The Niners are no longer playing a first place or even second place schedule. This is a fourth place schedule. This is the easiest schedule, one of the easiest schedules in the entire NFL, guys. Like, this is phenomenal. And so when you're incorporating this many rookies and all that stuff, it kind of lends to, well, those teams weren't that good last year, so we got something to work with here, and that's going to build a lot of confidence into the team just walking into it. Hey guys, if we just handle business down in and down out, the schedule's going to take care of itself. That's what the focus is, right? It's like it's one game at a time, right? But how does that look on a macro level, right? It's like one play, right? So, but when you take a step back and you look at the whole schedule, it's like, guys, this is a cakewalk if we just do what we're supposed to do. I don't need anybody in here to be phenomenal. I don't need you guys to be the Joe Montanas or the Jerry Rices or anything like that, right? I'm not looking for anybody to be Frank Gore, right? We don't need that. I don't need whoever's playing next to Fred Warner to be Patrick Willis-esque, right? Like, just come in here and do your job and be assignment type. These coordinators are going to put you in the right position, and the schedule is going to give us the biggest break of all. The least amount of travel that the Niners have had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? We got a decent amount of primetime games, but we don't have 3 games on the road on the road at a time. We don't have that. It just bodes well for the Niners, and we can make a really good push down the stretch also. The toughest stretch we were struggling to find, we did the schedule breakdown, right? Where's the toughest 3-game stretch? And I think all of us somewhere included either Tampa Bay or Houston in that stretch of those 3 games, right? And when you step back and look at it, it's like, if you just isolate just any 3 games around that, it's like every other team in the league would be glad to have these 3 opponents. So we just got to go out there and do what we're supposed to do. That's all. The schedule is definitely going to help.
100%. My last point is, in addition to that, the rest advantage that comes with this schedule, I think, is huge. The 49ers, year after year after year, continue to get effed by the NFL with the schedules that there would be negative 32 rest days, when it's all said and done. This is the first time that I can remember in at least a handful of years that they're actually on the positive end of net rest days. They're not traveling across the country back to back or on a short week, or, when they do have a bye week, they're coming off facing a team that had a Thursday night game the week prior, so it's not really an advantage. That's not really the case this year, thankfully, which, like I said, hasn't really been the case before. So they get an easier schedule, I should say, and then you get net rest days on top of that. You get younger bodies. These guys aren't as prone to injuries when you get older. They heal faster. I think everything's really lining up for the 49ers to just go out there and do it. Mike, I think you said it best. It's like, if you do what you're supposed to do, it's looking good for you guys. Now, it's like, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, right? Like, this is where they're at. This is where we're at, guys. Go and do it. I can't do the rest for you. Matt, did you have one more? Did you want to switch over to why we could be pessimistic?
I'm sorry. One more time?
Did you have one more? Or did you want to switch over to
No,
why we could be?
We were doing 3, I guess you said we were going to go whenever, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any more. I don't know if...
Yeah, I was just kind of looking up some statistics real quick. Let's see. Man. I mean, the skill position players, the big veterans look to be mostly healthy, and they're participating early. So that's some high-level buy-in. And when you have your veterans buying in, regardless of whether some people think that they look slow or whatever else they want to say, You know, you got the vets out there working. You got the vets in OTAs. You know, Trent is looking slim so far, slimmer than he did last offseason. So when you have that buy-in from the top guys, that makes it easier for the young guys to get involved. I've heard that Michael Williams is following around Nick Bosa like a little puppy dog, trying to sponge everything he can. That's a good sign. You know, everybody's trying to put in the work there, and, you know, having that buy-in from the top trickles down to the bottom. So everybody bought into the system, and being there on time and looking like they're ready to work bodes well for the sharpness of the team.
And none of us even mentioned McCaffrey being back. So, Matt, that goes into your point right there. The vets, the stars are healthy. Everybody's bought in. Mike, I noticed you.
Dude, and McCaffrey, by the way, has been doing like 11 on 11s. He's been doing like literally everything. That dude is a workout warrior. It's kind of like, so part of me kind of wants the coaching staff to be like, hey, man, can you like
take it easy?
Take it easy. Although that could be why he looks slow.
Mike?
I was going to touch on the return of some of these key veterans, right? So you talk about McCaffrey, right? I don't expect to get the best version of McCaffrey the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, right? But after that, boom, he should be back into his full shape and form, right? You talked about Trent Williams, right? Like, those are the things that we're looking forward to. Brandon Ayuk is going to be the best version of himself pre-injury as we head into the postseason. Right? Like, that's when he's going to have his legs behind him and all that stuff. That's when we're going to see just how good Brandon Ayuk can be after the injury. He's going to be the best version of himself post-injury down the stretch and after the bye week. He's going to play before then, but it's after that time is when we're going to be like, all right, he's back in football shape. This is who he is for this season, and we're going to know exactly what he could bring to the table. Ricky Pearsall with another season under his belt in an offseason, right? Juwan Jennings. Like, these guys are going to be able to come in and do some really, really good things for the 49ers. And all of that is going to take place. Like, I think this roster, the roster's deficiencies are going to become strengths the longer the season goes on. The roster's deficiencies from week 1, I should say, are going to become strengths as the season progresses. And that's another reason to remain optimistic. Not just for, can we have a good season, but can we make a run? Can we make a push if we can make it to the postseason? That's why you should be optimistic about it.
All right. Now let's flip this baby on its head, and let's talk about why we are pessimistic about the 49ers 2025 season. So I'm trying to talk and type at the same time. I think the main reason for me is there's a lot of new parts, right? There's a lot of new parts. You got a lot of rookies, a lot of second-year guys, new coaches. We just talked about a whole new special teams unit. On paper, it should work, right? But that doesn't always turn into wins. That doesn't always turn into good football. So that is a cause for concern for me. And I saw, there was even a chat in here earlier, young safeties, bite on play action, it's like stuff like that. Like, there are just simple learning curves in the NFL that an experienced coordinator, a savvy quarterback knows to take advantage of. Could that come to bite the 49ers in the ass at a crucial moment? Possibly. But it definitely is one of my top causes for concern. Matt, I'll throw it to you. What's one of your top reasons?
Ignoring the offensive line yet again. Really no effort put into the offensive line. Again, it's late draft picks, it's scraps, it's recycled parts, and you just paid your quarterback top dollar to come back and, run the show. And last year we were complaining about how it looked like he didn't have time in the pocket and he was running around, for his life. When we talk about Coach Kasarik being on the hot seat because he's gotten so much, we also have to go to the other side of the ball where Chris Forster is trying to work with, he's trying to make, again, that Michelin star meal out of, Velveeta slices and, week-old Wonder Bread. So you can talk about whatever you want, but this line has not gotten better. It's only gotten worse. Okay. And look, I love that Trent is bought in and everything else like that, but the dude is in his mid to late 30s now. I think he's 36 going on 37. he has a significant now history of lower leg injuries and these nagging injuries that take him out of games. You have, I mean, who's playing left guard? It looks like Ben Barch is going to start there, but is he going to be effective? You have the same problem with Jake Brendel that you had last year in that he is an awful pass blocker. You hope that Dominic Pooney can, progress, but that's not necessarily anything guaranteed. And then you're running out Colt McKivitz there again and hoping that he does the same thing. Again, when you don't put the effort into the offensive line that you do, say, the other side of the ball on the defensive line, there becomes an imbalance there. And I feel like the 49ers have the potential to really, really get bit by that in the end. Mike, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to flip it to the opposite side of the ball, right? You're in focus on the offensive line. And it's like with me, it's like, oh, at least most of those guys have, I hate to say it, but at least they've been there before, right? We got the experience there, right? They've played in the NFL for some years. Most of them. The flip side is we got Nick Bosa and a bunch of unproven guys fixing up the rest of this defensive line. Most of them are going to be rookies, right? We're talking about West. We're talking about Mykel Williams. We're talking about Huff, who's an undrafted guy, and like we're hoping that he could bring back some of that magic, right? It's like, who's really going to be those guys on the defensive line? Like, yeah, it's cool. What it reminds me of is when teams were building these super teams, these all-star, these all-pro teams during free agency, right? You remember the Eagles' dream team thing, right? Like they had like just all-pro players all over the place. They went and acquired in that 1 year. And then it was like, man, these pros couldn't get it done. Now we're going to depend on rookies to get it done for the 49ers. And that's terrifying to me because as much potential as you see in these rookies, a lot of times rookies don't work out, at least not to the way you need them to. Forget the way you want them to, the way you need them to. They don't pan out the way you need them to. And if that happens for these 49ers, 5 of your first 5 draft picks were all defensive. If 2 or 3 of them don't work out, we're screwed.
Yeah,
I mean, it might be more than a step backwards. We're losing veterans now, right? Like now, there's no more of the Hiders. There's no more of the Hargraves. There's no like all these guys are gone, right? People were like, "Oh, we should have got DJ Jones." Well, we didn't. Like those guys are not here. So now, what are we going to do? How are we going to sustain? We're going to depend on rookies to make this team good. That's terrifying to me. You're going to hope for the best, but odds are it ain't going to work out in our favor. And so that's one of the things that I think that we should be really, really pessimistic about. It's like that defensive line is not going to improve the way that we want it to. We're doing a lot, we're adding a lot, but it's not likely to work out in our favor.
Zach, you're up, man.
I'm up. Did you guys talk about receivers yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. You have Ayuk. Who knows when he's going to come back? Could be week 1 through 4 through 6 through 8. I mean, really just depends when his injury heals up. They have Juwan Jennings, who I think can be a bona fide wide receiver 1. They have Ricky Pearsall, who they spent a first-round pick on last year. But outside of that, it's really unproven. It's a lot of unproven guys. They signed DeMarcus Robinson, who I think could be good. He's got a couple game suspension. So after Pearsall, it really drops off. You got Cowan going into year 2, who showed a couple of flashes, but really just wasn't used. They spent a mid-round pick on Watkins, who, sure, by all reports, is having a great start to the OTAs and whatnot. But I feel like I hear this every July, every June, every May, and then come September, it doesn't really facilitate into anything on the field for some reason. Could they have spent a little money on a Devontae Adams? Maybe. Devontae Adams later came on a podcast, basically said, I forget if he said they didn't offer him anything or what they offered was like so basically insulting that it wasn't even worth considering. One of the two, but not good. And then he ended up going to your rival LA Rams. So, even though they had spent so much on the position, knowing that you were going to part ways with Debo, knowing that Ayuk is out for the first quarter of the season, most likely, and then even when he does return, it's not like he's going to be having 10 catch 100-yard games this first week back, right? He's going to take some time to get acclimated back into things. Could they have addressed the position a little more? Maybe. But it's definitely a cause for concern for me because it's just a lot of unproven guys. I mean, similar to my first point, just a little more specific. Outside of Juwan and Ricky, there's just a bunch of question marks. That's my second point.
I just want to touch on what you were saying there, right? And you started by saying you think Juwan could be a bona fide wide receiver one. I don't.
Same.
I don't think that if teams had to focus on him as the primary guy, he would be any good. I think he benefits a lot from being wide receiver 2, 3, or 4 here with the 49ers. If he was the focal point of an offense, I think he'd be lucky to get 600 yards a season. I think he benefits from being a guy that's further down the depth chart, and we're going to focus on taking away that first-round wide receiver in Ricky Pearsall, or that first-round wide receiver in Brandon Ayuk, or that second-round wide receiver in Debo. I think he benefited a lot from that. I don't think he's a bona fide one, so that's even more terrifying if you think about it from my perspective with everything that you just said.
Damn, okay.
I actually fully agree with Mike. I think that the thought of what Debo Samuel was, that 2021 rep, left a lot of defensive coordinators game planning for him over and over and over again. And you saw the production drop because he started to decline physically. But that means that Juwan Jennings is getting a lot of number 2 wide receiver look, number 3 wide receiver look. When Pearsall started to come on, you can see the physical difference. Is Juwan Jennings the most physical wide receiver that we have? The best blocking wide receiver that we have? I would say yes, of course. He can go up to the catch point. He will attack. He will go after. But dude is like a 4.7 40 guy. Like, he is not fast. Not fast at all. He does most of his work in, against zone coverage. He's not a press man beater. He's not going to just blow everybody away with his separation. I think a lot of what Juwan Jennings was doing was benefiting from, again, the attention to Debo Samuel and, being able to really rely on a lot. I mean, a lot of that comes from Brock Purdy just placing the ball in an area where Juwan Jennings can go up and use his physical advantage to go and get it, because Juwan Jennings is a big dude. He's our biggest wide receiver. So him being able to do that is nice. But if he was let's just say, because I mean, let's be real. Until Ricky Pearsall proves that he's like the number 1 guy going into the season, week 1, Demarcus Robinson's going to be suspended. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be playing. Week 1, they open with Seattle. Okay, so is Seattle's cornerback 1 going to be on Juwan Jennings? If so, how does he do? Are they going to bracket coverage to take Juwan Jennings away? If so, how is he going to do? I think week 1 is going to answer a lot of questions to what Juwan Jennings' potential actually is. And I think physically he's capped. Like, he's got nowhere else to go. Like, he was a 7th rounder. When the 49ers drafted him and I saw his like combine stuff with his short shuttle, with his 40, I was like, damn, you might as well just convert this dude to a tight end. He's slow as shit. His feet suck. Like, coming out of Tennessee, his feet were bad, dude. So, he's made the most of his opportunity, no doubt. And that's no shade to Juwan Jennings. But at a certain point, you just run out of talent to get any better. And I just don't think that he caps off at that wide receiver 1. And that in and of itself, if we don't get a healthy Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall doesn't pop, to your point, Zach, the wide receiver group suddenly looks like, not very good. Not very good.
Cowing, Watkins, and a bunch of other, young guys. Demarcus Robinson, maybe after week 2.
Now, Leonard Hankerson, the wide receiver coach for the 49ers, did say that Ricky Pearsall and Cowing have been in the building since February. Right. Like, every day they've been in the building doing stuff. So that's good. I've heard the reports that Jordan Watkins looks very crisp in OTAs. And again, it's against air, so who the fuck knows, right? Like, I don't think Shadur Sanders is going to be good at all, but apparently he's looked good in OTAs. So, yay, congratulations. We've got some of the usual suspects who love the offensive line going like, damn, dude, did you see Trent pancake the guy holding that pad? Wow. And it's just like, all right, we're doing this shit again. So we need to see it on the field, obviously, but the signs are there that people are at least trying to make the most of their opportunity.
Also, Cowing looks like he put on a solid 5-10 pounds. Like he got. It's not all muscle, obviously, but he definitely put on some size.
Listen, he needs to put a solid 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 route in his fucking tree. That's what he needs to put on. You know what I mean? Like he needs to be more than like a 2 route dude.
That's the thing, right? I keep hearing people talk about his size.
I don't give a fuck about
No
muscle.
one gave a fuck about his size. It was the route running and ability to get open. Like, he couldn't get a target. Like, I don't give a shit if he gains 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't care if he grows 6 inches. Like, what is he going to do to get targets? Yeah, pause. That's crazy. Right? But, like, what is he going to do to get targets? What is he going to do to warrant more opportunities his way?
Isn't that the same?
It's not about girth.
Yeah. Isn't that the same critique that we had about Colin Kaepernick? Dude was a workout warrior, and all he did was lift weights, but he didn't do the things that you needed to do to get better at throwing the football.
Right. There was no touch on the ball. Everything was a zip on the
Everything
line.
was a fastball.
Jamming Randy Moss's fingers and shit. He held that like a badge of honor. Like, it was like a prideful thing. Yeah, Randy Moss knows how I get down. Who gives a fuck that you can jam a finger, dude?
Yeah.
When we need touch and we need you to lay it over a linebacker and underneath the safety, can you do it or not? No.
Like,
he couldn't do it.
No. Touch would have been really helpful in that Super Bowl.
Come on.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna say it. Listen, actually, touch should have gone to Frank Gore. Frank Gore should have ran it, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, listen, everybody's gonna look back on it and they're gonna forget, right? That Kaepernick, everybody still looks back on him with fondness and everything else because he did take the 49ers to Super Bowl, and that's fine. But I remember a 4 interception half against the Arizona Cardinals. I remember him getting benched for Blaine Gabbert. I remember him consistently overthrowing people and just like firing the ball 10 yards out of bounds because he had no touch whatsoever.
That's what I remember. How bad that NFC Championship first half was also.
Yep.
Like, that was not a good first half of football for the 49ers at all. And a lot of it was on the far.
Everybody is like, dude, but did you see him against the Packers? I'm like, okay, bro, like he ran the ball for like 200 yards. But he's a quarterback, dude.
Yeah. So I appreciate Cap for what he brought us to and what he took us through with all that stuff. But I mean, let's not pretend
my point
the muscle
being,
and the mass made him a better player in his position.
Yeah. Like, who gives a fuck about weights? Like, I mean, and Cowling was small, so like, yes, getting into an NFL weight room and having a sandwich or two is going to be good for him, but show me what you can do on the route tree now, because that's really why you weren't getting any burn, is because you can't run anything but like a fly route and like a slant. That's it. They need you to be able to run in between these zones. They need to have you run like a dig route and then sit in a zone and get open. And he didn't show that he could do that. So I'd like to see that, though. And hopefully the offseason work is going to, prove that he can do that. And I'm really counting on a giant growth spurt in terms of production from Ricky Pearsall. The end of last season really had me feeling positive about that. And with a full off season and, knock on wood, hopefully not getting shot over his fucking Rolex, you know what I mean? Like, that he can get out there and do some shit.
Whose end of their rookie season made you feel more confident?
Man, don't even talk about Dante Pettis, bro. Don't even say Dante Pettis.
I just want to know, between those two, between Pearsall and Pettis,
Ricky Pearsall,
who are you more excited about going into year 2?
Ricky Pearsall, because Dante Pettis to me was always super finesse. To me, Ricky Pearsall does not shy away from contacting. He will play physical, and I think that bodes well in the long run, especially in this offense. Ricky Pearsall plays more physical. And by the way, Ricky Pearsall is a better route runner than Dante Pettis was.
I don't know.
You can see it. You can see it.
Nah, I'm not going to give you that part, bro. Pettis had some nice ass routes, bro. I'm not going to say that. Now, everything you said about physicality, 1,000% on. You were dead on for that.
No, I didn't like Pettis. Pettis is a pitter patterer, dude. He's like it's the same thing that I have with Travis Hunter. So Dante Pettis did the same shit. It takes you 14 steps to go 3 yards. I don't care if you cook the guy but you're out of rhythm, dude. You're not in rhythm with the quarterback. And initially, Ricky Pearsall was like that. If you remember Ricky Pearsall's first couple games when Brock Purdy would try to throw him the ball on some of these timing routes, he would pitter patter his feet, and then the timing would be off. Where Brock Purdy expected him to be, he was not, because he was so concerned about like cooking that DB. It's like, this is not college where you can sit back there, have a fucking cup of coffee behind a Power 5 offensive line and have a ton of open space, right? Because you play on 30-yard wide hashes or whatever the fuck. Like, this is the NFL, dude. Like, 2 inches is open. Like, you put your foot in the ground and you go. And I thought that Ricky Pearsall did a good job of that towards the end of the season. And I think, I think Ricky Pearsall has better hands too, to be honest. So physicality, route running is not as far apart as it. Maybe if we just say they're comparable, everything else is in Ricky Pearsall's favor. Yeah. And I think physicality and the ability to, catch the ball when needed is good too.
Yeah. Mike, did you have another reason, or were you wrapped up already?
I got plenty of reasons to be pessimistic. I can do this all day. I'm going to start with the secondary, right? Like, outside of Diamador Lenore, tell me somebody that you're confident in that secondary. I dare you. Because Mustafa's hurt.
Yep. Reports are that Green's been getting busted.
Cooked. He's getting cooked by
that DeMarcus Robinson busted his ass.
It ain't Green, right? And Jair Brown's my guy. Y'all know how I am about my Jersey guys, right? But he's hurt. He's not doing shit right now, right? So where is the help in that secondary, right? So tell me. Don't worry about it. You can't, because there's no real answer. And that is a major reason to be concerned. Teams are going to eat. If they go out there with 2 good wide receivers, if the Niners had to play the Bengals week 1, the Niners are losing that game by 3 scores. That's it. Like, if we go out there against a team with good wide receiver 1 and 2, we are in trouble. And God forbid they got a freaking tight end. It is a wrap. It is a wrap. Teams are going to toss on us all day long. Doesn't have to be deep. Doesn't have to be deep passes the whole game long. They're going to cook, because who is playing in that secondary? I don't even know who our starting safeties are pegged to be right now. Do you guys have any idea who they're supposed to be? Who's supposed to be the corner starting opposite Diamador Lenore?
Right now on paper it would be Renardo Green, but
that's a womp.
Yeah,
that's a womp.
Yeah. Didn't they sign a guy too?
They signed 3 guys in the secondary, but they were supposed to be for special teams. So, what are we really talking about here?
Yeah.
Now, I do want to temper what we draw out of OTAs. I think it's really, really hard to just be like, based off his play last year in games, I would say that Green is going to start.
Yeah.
Because, again, I've seen too much of the OTA, oh, shit, dude, like, he looks so good. That's how we get the Trent Sherfields and the Jalen Hurds and all that shit. Listen, do it in a regular season game. Otherwise, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much of that on shorts against air, whatever. Like, do it in the game. Let's see. But, they drafted Stout to play the nickel corner spot. And, again, he's short, but he's a dog. So you hope that he could play. But I'm with you, Mike. Like, other than Diamador Lenore, like, I don't have a ton of confidence in any of the guys. You're probably who's going to start at safety? I don't know, Richie Grant and George Odom. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not good, but yeah, for sure.
That's crazy. That's crazy. None of you guys are telling me, oh, yeah, we're going to make a Super Bowl run with those guys. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Let's stop lying to ourselves for 1 second, right? We have plenty of reason to be hopeful, because we hope these guys reach the peak of what we're hoping they can be early on, right? But the truth of the matter is they're going to fall somewhere in between. That in between is terrifying.
Yeah.
It is absolutely terrifying.
For sure.
The sophomore slump is a thing for a reason, right? It's not just applicable to quarterbacks. Right? Like, we're going to study these second-year wide receivers. We're going to study these second-year corners. We're going to study these second-year safeties, right? And we're going to find out what tendencies they bid on, so how we can take advantage of them all.
Now,
and that's
you got a point too, right? The sophomore slump is real. I mean, after his rookie year when we went to the Super Bowl, everybody was like, "Damn, dude, Jair Brown, he's a guy. He's a guy." Played like shit last year. Looked lost. So there is something to be said for that. And, you hope that the shitty schedule can kind of carry these guys through to get some experience, or at least until we can get Mustafa and Brown back to get some veteran presence in there or whatever. But, yeah, it's or you hope the defensive line is good enough to fucking get some sacks to like bail them out for once. So
The defensive line full of rookies, by the way. Like rookies and undrafted free agents, right? Like
I will say that with the Huff trade, you're counting on two guys who are veterans as your like primary pass rushers. So you got Bosa and you got Huff. So like Bosa needs to have a big season, and Huff obviously needs to go back to his 2023
you
season.
Are not going to tell me
what's up?
You're not going to tell me with a straight face you have more confidence in Huff than you had in Lloyd last year.
In Leonard Floyd?
There's no way you're going to tell me you had more confidence in Huff than what you had in Floyd last year.
No, but
last
year,
going into the season, I'm saying.
No. But I have more confidence in the pieces around based off of what they drafted. Like they drafted to stop the run. Leonard Floyd, yes. I don't think the pass rush, was the problem for Leonard Floyd. Never. I don't think that was what the problem was once Javon Hargrave got hurt and they lost Javon Kinlaw, they did fuck all to replace that production in the defensive tackles. Right. So just by virtue of Collins and West being 300 and some odd pound motherfuckers who love to stuff the run, like stuffing the run and shooting that A gap, that doesn't require a ton of fucking coaching. You know what I mean? So like the run defense, just by virtue of them being big bodied and good against the run to begin with, should be better. And that's going to take away some of the other things that teams have been doing to the 49ers. And hopefully Saleh and Gus Bradley can combine together to take away some of the other bugaboos of the 49ers defense, that wide nine, which is getting the ball out on wide receiver screens or dumping it out of the backfield super quick before your pass rush can even get home. So those are the things that they really need to address. But again, I have more confidence just because of the roster churn, just because Nick Sorensen isn't here, and just because of the coaching that we have, that I have more confidence that the defense overall, because I don't think Huff is going to play first and second down. I think Michael Williams is going to play first and second down. And I think I know that at Georgia, he was a good run defender.
Run defender, yeah, but fuck all the confidence stuff. We're talking about pessimism right now, right? So
no. You asked me a specific question
about Floyd. I was focusing on pass rushers. You moved to defensive tackles and run stuffers, right? So
I was telling you my logic for being more confident in Huff than. I took the 30,000 foot view. Yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent for sure, but Huff is a pass rusher. The one area I will say that Huff does very well is that, according to the advanced stats, the whatever, his get off is one of the fastest in the NFL.
Which sounds like D Ford, right? So cool. Yeah. I like that. Mr. 6.5 sacks with the 49ers. D Ford.
Especially if you're asking wide nine and Robert Saleh, where they don't blitz like they would in like a Vic Fangio system, where it's just like, again, all gas, no break, pin your fucking ears back and go get the goddamn quarterback. Like that's going to be very important.
So I want to ask you guys this, and I don't know if this is where you were going to go next, Zach, but what's your guys' level of confidence in all of a sudden Nick Bosa being productive? Because the last 2 seasons, I haven't seen it. Are you guys confident now all of a sudden because we got Huff here that Nick Bosa is going to show up? Because he didn't show up with Floyd here.
I'm more confident because they have Saleh here than any player that's on the field, maybe aside from Michael Williams. But they have a coach. I don't think it's any secret that he didn't really vibe with what Sorensen was asking him to do. And I don't think any of the players really vibed with what Steve Wilkes was asking them to do. So I think you get a coach in that he's familiar with, that he's had success with. You spend a first-round pick on getting him another bookend edge rusher. You get a guy that's had success in this coach's scheme. Yeah, I'm confident in Bosa's ability, I would say, to produce, to have another 10-plus sack season.
The only reason he didn't have a 10-plus sack season last year is because he missed 3 games. He had 9 sacks last year.
Yeah.
And he had 15 tackles for losses last year, which was like, I think it was like first or second in the NFL. So he's getting back there. And I saw plenty of times where, again, Nick Bosa is getting a lot of pressure. And then there was nobody else on the other side to clean up. And I think a lot of what Nick Bosa does is get other people sacks because he's, you need athletic guys. And again, they were soft as baby shit up the middle, dude, where normally you see let's say, I don't know, Brandon Graham for the Eagles or whatever, like rushes the quarterback or whatever, pushes him into their defensive tackle, right? And that's where the sack happens. It's convergence of bodies. But if there's nobody there that can even, get to the quarterback, I think that's an issue. So I don't know. I think that there is room for Nick Bosa to improve for sure, but I think that he could, again, when you ask him, just all things considered, especially when he's out there, he's a 3-down lineman. He's playing just about every down, right? Like, he's good against the run. He's good against the pass. I think he was like 9th. PFF had him ranked 9th in defensive ends against the run, 8th against the pass. So, like, he's grading out. And again, PFF take with a grain of salt. Again, pressures with a grain of salt or whatever. But he was consistently getting back there. Maybe he could, pause in advance. Maybe he could finish better. But the opportunities are there. I don't think that it was any coincidence that when Eric Armstead left, that Bosa's production started to go down, because Eric Armstead would help too, because Eric Armstead could get into the backfield, right? And then now all of a sudden they can't run away from Nick Bosa because, oh shit, Eric Armstead, oh shit. And then all of a sudden there's Nick Bosa too. So it's double whammy. Well, these guys the rookies especially, can come in and do the things that they need to do to create the pressure, shoot their gap, get into the backfield or whatever. Then you get less of those quarterbacks escaping Nick Bosa, because Nick Bosa, again, is just like chasing them across the field, a la Baker Mayfield.
Very good point. Armstead left, Bosa's production. But all right, we're going to have to wrap up here, fellas. We did a good half of the show on why we're optimistic, a good half on why we're pessimistic, and we are now geniuses, because whatever way the season goes, we could clip it and say we were right the whole time. The content creator way. You guys know how we do it here. No, I'm just kidding. It is nice to cover all of our bases, though, we try to keep it real with you guys. We're not the type of people that are going to tell you everything's great. 49ers are going to go 17-0. We're going to win Super Bowl. That's not it. And whether we're called haters or what, let me know or let us know. But I don't really think that that's the case here. I think we try to keep it real with you guys. I think you guys appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, if we get it from both sides, right? Like, either we're haters or we're glazers, we're doing the right thing, because nobody else really gets that. It's like you're a hater 100% of the time, or you're a glazer.
Right.
Mark Cisneros, I'm just gonna bring this up real quick. We'll touch on it because I know you asked earlier. State of play, I thought today was awesome, something for everybody. And then the Arc System Wars fighting game, I'm super excited about that. That shit looks sick.
Dope. Mike, I'm sure the folks already know. Please let them know where to find you for premium 49ers content.
Yeah, guys, I got a lot of new stuff coming to Patreon this week, so make sure you guys are locked in. You see the right there, patreon.com/NB9ERS. And for all of my supporters over here on the Nothing But Niners channel, please make sure you guys subscribe to the 49ers Hive channel. It's down there. I'm pointing underneath Matt, right there on there. 49ers Hive. That's on all your social media platforms. Give my guys some support. They deserve it, so you won't be disappointed, all right? Don't get all of your 49ers information from one source. Spread it around. Take the good with the bad from both sides. The truth is somewhere in the middle. All right, so get those different opinions.
There you go. Matt, do us the honors.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's OTAs, and then training camp's going to be around the corner. Can't believe it, like in a month. So looking forward to the season. Hope everybody stays healthy. Hope everybody produces. Again, we'd love to have the most optimistic outcome. I'm sure all of us would. But it remains to be seen. So good conversation, good food for thought tonight. For Zach, for Mike, for myself, we love having you here. We couldn't do this without you. And until next time, go Niners.